Today, we talked to a seller who's grown multiple brands from 0 to 6 figures in their first year. And we're going to talk about his keyword research and launch strategies, as well as how he can automatically adjust his PPC bids based on keyword rank. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I'm your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. And we've got a longtime listener, first-time caller, first time on our podcast here. Spencer, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Now, something you were telling me offline is that you've actually been listening to this podcast for a while. How long have you been listening to the podcast?
Actually, I signed up for the tool in 2020, the end of 2023, and I actually haven't missed an episode since. I am a very loyal listener. And I listen every day. I go to the office twice a week, and it's about a 45-minute drive, and I listen to the podcast on my way. And that's, I pull out of my driveway and I press play, and I love it. And
any favorite guest over time, or ones that really inspired you, or had a random strategy that really made a difference, or anything that sticks out in your head?
I love the Bali Blast launch strategies. Those are always fun to listen to and great information in there. But yeah, there's always gems in these episodes, so you can't miss one. You gotta listen to them all.
Where are you located?
I'm located in Superior, Colorado.
Colorado, what is that, like near Denver? I mean, anybody knows Denver, but they don't know anything else about Colorado other than that.
Yeah, it's about 15 minutes from Boulder, 25 minutes from Denver, so kind of in the middle.
Okay. Let me tell you, I'm sure you've flown in and out of Denver many times. Whenever I go there, it's like the worst turbulence in any American city I think I've ever had. Is that like just bad luck on my part, or is that like a common thing?
No, it's definitely a common thing. We have a lot of wind here, so that definitely affects the flights that come in and out of Denver.
Your crazy Amazon sales in the location just causing all kinds of environmental issues, I guess, over there.
Yeah.
All right. And is that where you were born and raised?
No, I was born and raised in Long Island, New York, and moved out to Colorado in 2022 with my wife and my son, and haven't looked back since. We love it here.
Nice. Yeah, definitely a different vibe than New York. Where did you go to college at?
I went to the University at Albany. It's a New York State school.
Never heard of that one. What's the mascot there?
The mascot is the Great Dane.
The Great Dane, Albany Great Dane. Okay, all right. I learned a new one today. What did you study?
I studied marketing and business.
Okay, so like along the lines of e-commerce, a little bit in that direction. Did you get into that at all after graduation?
So after graduation, I joined my family business, which is it's called Mitchell's NY. Started in 1946 by my grandfather. Wow. It's a newspaper, magazine delivery company, and a logistics company, and also has a division that sells beverages to consumers online and on Amazon. And I started that store back in 2017. And I worked nights before then, since when I got out of college in 2008. And I learned all the operations from delivering newspapers and magazines to, handing out paychecks and dealing with the carriers on a day-to-day basis and getting to know them and going over complaints from customers and, working from the bottom up at that business. And then in 2016, I decided I needed a little bit of a change. So I decided our beverage website, beverageuniverse.com, needed a replatforming because it was on a platform that was no longer going to be supported. And so I put out, I learned a ton about e-commerce and tried my best. And I put out an RFP and met with about 20 different companies and picked one to rebuild our website on a new platform. And at that point in time, my uncle, who is also involved in the business, he asked me if I thought selling on Amazon might be a good idea. And I was like, yeah, I think so. Let's try it. So I just got my feet wet and started selling on Amazon. I opened up our storefront, and I was a third party seller for competing with other sellers on all different types of beverages. And I started selling there and grew that business to about $2 million in revenue annually until per year. Yeah.
So before you started that, there was no Amazon like operations for them?
No Amazon operations. I created it from scratch, became a merchant fulfilled prime seller. So we were shipping 2 day shipping throughout the country.
What kind of beverages is this?
So we sell all different types of beverages, but our niche is premium waters. So fancy waters from all over the world that, rich people drink for the most part. Selling it for about
now, are you still operating that, or you're
still,
doing?
Yeah, it's still in operation. I'm no longer with the company.
Okay.
I still have a stake in the company.
Do you ever keep up with it and just see like if it's going up or down or anything?
I watch the sales. I get emails every day on the revenue from each day, and I track it on a regular basis.
Have they been able to maintain your trajectories since you left, or
I
has it
left
kind of
them
plateaued?
in a good place, and I was able
good.
to confidently get them to be confident about how to sell on Amazon and online.
Okay. And so by that point, was that kind of like your full-time? Were you full-time e-commerce then, or were you still doing other things on the side?
Yeah, I was full-time e-commerce, running the website as well as the Amazon store at starting in 2016.
Okay. And then did you go to start this company that you're currently working on, or was there's some things, some gigs you had in between?
No, so I was looking. Being at a family company is not always the easiest thing. So I decided it was time for a change. With COVID, it was living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Long Island City, Queens, was with a 11-month-old was not the easiest of times. We were in and out from living with during that time while daycares were closed, moving in with my in-laws in New Jersey.
How far from Queensboro Plaza Station were
Not
you?
far at all. And our office was about
crazy.
2 minutes from there.
I lived I lived in Brooklyn Heights for a few years, 30 years ago almost. And I would always go to Long Island City, and I would get off on the 7 train, Queensboro Plaza, get some pizza at one of the stands like right there on that street. And so like very familiar with the area. And then I just went to Long Island City maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and there was somebody else on the podcast I was recording. And when I drove there in an Uber from, actually, I went from Brooklyn Heights. I had gone to my favorite pizza place, which is Giuliana's in Brooklyn Heights. Got in an Uber, and I was on my phone the whole time because that's how I always am. And then I got out, and I thought I was in the wrong place. I was like, this cannot be Long Island City. I hadn't been there like maybe 10, 15 years. Like all these new developments, and it was like nothing like, I remember I had friends living in the Queensbridge projects, where Ron Artest and NASA, grew up, and I was like, this is the Long Island City I remember. But it was like, I was like, am I in Lower Manhattan here? Like, what's going
changed. On? It's amazing the change that's happened in that, especially where Vernon Boulevard is. That's where I used to live. It's totally different than it used to be. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Now.
Nice. All right. So then, what brought you to your current company that you're working at now?
Yeah, so we ended up. My sister-in-law has lived in Boulder since 2010, and we used to come and visit every year. So my wife and I always talked about like how much we loved it here in Colorado and how we wanted to, make a change eventually, but we could never figure it out. And then COVID hit, and we were in the 1-bedroom, moving in and out with my wife's parents. and staying with them. And we were like, finally, like, we can't do this anymore. We need to change. Let's move out to Colorado. Let's make this happen. So we did it. I stayed with my family company for a bit. They're kind of old school. So I ended up, they didn't really love how I was working remotely 100% of the time. I used to go into the office because it was super close to my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to start looking for a job. I was very specific about what I wanted. I wanted an opportunity with a high upside where I could grow in the company because, I want to continue my trajectory of becoming, a very important person in the company. I want to help grow and I want to be a big part of it. So that was one of my sticking points on finding a job. So I was kind of particular about it. Found Leanin greeting cards, which has been around since 1949, and I interviewed with them, and I got the job. And I was happy with the CEO and talking with him and my boss, who has since retired, but it went very well, and I was happy about how things looked with being with that company, and I ended up signing with them.
I'm showing some of the Amazon storefront here. Tell us a little bit about this company, like how long it's been around, and what it's pretty self-explanatory. It seems like it's a bunch of like greeting cards, but like what's the, is there anything unique about it, or talk a little bit about Leanin.
Yeah, Leanin is actually a very unique company. It's a ESOP, which is employee owned now.
I worked for an ESOP like 25 years ago, and I never heard one company about that, before. So that's pretty cool.
So I love that fact that everyone's an owner. Everyone's got, skin in the game. We're all in this together. Everyone has that ownership mentality. So it really changes the dynamic of the company, which I absolutely love. Another unique part of our business. So we're in about 20,000 stores nationwide. And they're mostly independent stores. We are in like Tractor Supply and Ace Hardware. You'll find our cards. But
Ace Hardware, not a place that I would think would be big on greeting cards.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's like these hardware stores are a big market for us. Grocery stores, obviously, you've seen there. I'm sure cards there.
Sure,
but
sure.
I think like what wholesale feed dealers and stuff like that, places you wouldn't expect. It's like people go to these stores, like contractors or something would go, but they'll bring their wife, and their wife's not a contractor. They have no interest. So, but their wife's at the store looking at the card.
Makes sense.
So that's really where that ties in. So it's interesting how that works out. But another thing that's interesting about the company is that all of our art on the cards, all of our cards are made by independent artists. So we commission artists to create the art for the cards, and we have a whole product team that picks the art and picks the products.
Nice. Now, when you came to the company, like how long had this company existed, and then had they never sold on Amazon before you? If you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the company was started in 1949 by the Trumbull family. And
did you only work for companies started in the 40s that are family run?
Is that 40s, like your it's a criteria
okay.
I put on my resume, I say. And in 2022 they sold the company to the employees, and it was that's when the company.
And never were on Amazon before you?
Never was on Amazon. I started the store from scratch, and I didn't use Helium 10 until I started with Leanin. So I was not using any tools prior, except for Seller Central, prior to joining Leanin. The funny thing about Helium 10 is the way I found out about it. So during my time interviewing for new positions, I was interviewing for an Amazon agency, because I knew I really liked being on Amazon and selling on Amazon. And I thought, why not, find a job that's selling on Amazon? And I ended up applying for a job at an agency, and we got they asked me to put a presentation together. And they asked me if I've ever used Helium 10, and I told them no, I've never even heard of it. But and then I started looking into it, and I was like, started watching your videos, and I was like, wow, this tool is really cool. And I think this would really help me grow and, learn a ton about how to sell properly on Amazon. And I ended up not getting that job, but
Ah.
it definitely was a pivotal moment in my job in my career where I was able
Oh.
to, jump in and learn the tool and, help grow my new role.
So this was, like launching from scratch almost. I mean, sure there's probably, I'm sure you saw in Helium 10 in the beginning there was probably I mean, I don't know about a lot, but you tell me, but like search volume or something for the actual brand, because of people who saw it in Ace Hardware or whatever. But it was basically from scratch. Were you able to grow it pretty fast?
Yeah, we grew pretty fast through to six figures in the first year and have continued to grow since then.
Nice. All right. Talk about that first year, about how you launched. Like, did you just do a spray and pray method? Hey, let me get all of the SKUs on there. Did you have some kind of cadence you were doing? Like, let me start with what the best sellers, from other platforms or offline are, and just, do X number per month. Like, how did you, growing to six figures in 1 year doesn't just, happen at the snap of a finger. So what was your strategy there?
Yeah, so we have I sell assortments of cards, so 20 cards per box that retail for 19.95, and I chose the top 20 sellers for the company. So our trade side, where we sell to stores, I had our product team compile a list of our top sellers, and I started with those. I did keyword research on greeting card boxes, and greeting cards assortment box was one of the top keywords that I found in Helium 10, with about 10,000 searches a month. And I was like, okay, that's probably my primary keyword I need to go after. And I added that to my titles. And then I found like longer tail keywords in Helium 10 that I was able to add to campaigns to start ranking for those and grow on those. And people were searching for Leanin tree because we're known
Sure.
throughout the US. So I did branding campaigns, and there's about probably 1,000 searches a month on our branded name. So there was
Nice.
some low hanging fruit there that I was able to take advantage of.
You started Amazon. Did you start any other marketplaces for them? Or like what kind of marketplaces do they sell on?
So we sell on our Shopify site, which is our own website as well. And then last year I launched on Walmart.com, and I use multi-channel fulfillment to fulfill those orders from our FBA inventory.
Oh, okay. Did you just start that recently because Walmart changed their rules
Yeah.
about? Oh, okay. How is the profitability on that? You don't need to say the number, but I'm just wondering, like, for a lot of people, they find that the MCF is sometimes expensive. Are you still able to do it in a profitable way? I assume your profit's probably not as much as just your raw orders on Amazon, since the shipping is more, but it's still good enough for you to keep going and not want to switch to like fulfilled by Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, we're already investing in FBA. We already have a lot of
Mhm.
inventory in AWD, and it's a big investment for a company to, throw more inventory at Walmart and add to their fulfillment network also. So we're starting slow. Amazon's doing well, so we're gonna focus on that for now, and let those orders just roll in. We're not losing money on them for the Walmart orders, but we're not making a ton.
Yeah.
But it's still, still more on top.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anybody, like maybe if you had one product SKU or two SKUs, makes sense to do. Hey, let me do fulfilled by TikTok. Let me do fulfilled by Walmart. Let me do, fulfilled by Amazon. But when you have, such a wide variety of products, it's probably not great from a cash flow to like, oh, now I gotta, put 100 units across, 100 SKUs or something, on all these platforms. Just keep it in one place. Okay. Now, what is your process as far as deciding new products? Like is everything decided by, I don't know, corporate office or something that they're looking at just the business overall? Or has there ever been a case where you're spotting some trend on Amazon and you're like, hey, this is a niche that we're not in, can we look into this?
Yeah, there's a product team at the company that comes out with new product every twice a year, usually sometimes 3 times a year. They come out with new product, and I'm only selling the assortments at the moment on Amazon, and they'll come out with like 2 or 3 new ones, maybe 4 new ones each year. So I'll just add those
Okay.
and find the best keywords and try to rank for them quickly in order
So
to
when
get
you
them to start.
launch one of these new products, what is your launch process? Like how do you, I mean, obviously no matter what you do, when you have an established brand and like you said, thousand or thousands of people are searching for your brand, you launch anything and people eventually buy it. But at the same time, you still, determine with Helium 10 what your main keywords are. You're obviously just, you want to start ranking for it. So what is your strategy as far as launch when we're talking about, getting to page one for your main keywords? Is it 100% PPC? Are you sending outside traffic, to kind of like get some momentum up, or social media, or what's your basic strategy there?
Yeah, so we're not sending any outside traffic. We have our own website that we'll make much higher margins on
Mm-hmm.
than using FBA and selling on Amazon. So we focus our sending traffic to that website instead of Amazon. Although it could help with sales for sure. I definitely see that, but my launch strategy is to create a test listing, just like you said, and see where the relevancy is from what I created before I launch it. I always launch with the Vine program. Then I launched it with a real SKU and real UPC, and right off the bat, I was able to start ranking immediately.
Nice. What are some of the things that you've done to, like, quote unquote fix the relevancy, like where Amazon was obviously confused and you probably knew that, oh man, I'm probably not going to get impressions on this because the Amazon recommended rank is low. Like did you change the structure of the listing? Did you like send a little traffic to the keyword, or what did you do
Yeah, I would
to?
send traffic to the keyword. I
Mhm.
would add maybe the keyword to my title to make it
Mm-hmm.
even more relevant, and then I'd have someone at my company do like a search find by
Yeah. And
to
again,
the
people, this is not, don't get it twisted. That's not against Amazon terms of service. If he's trying to get 20 people to do search, find, buy for a keyword and try and rank for that keyword, that is against Amazon terms of service. But to do like 1 or 2 just to get some relevancy signals, that is not against what Amazon says. So, okay. Oh, this is music to my ears to finally hear somebody. Like, to me, this has always been one of the most overlooked features that, all plans of Helium 10, even the Platinum, has access to this Amazon recommended rank. But I would say 99% of Helium 10 users are ignoring it. Good to see somebody taking advantage. All right. So you say you get it up there, you do the launch. Do you do like 30 Vine all the time?
Yeah, I do 30 vines to just get it up there. You need to, otherwise you're so far behind your competitors, and nobody wants to buy a product with no
Sure.
reviews.
Have you tried that pre-launch Vine thing? It's been hit or miss for me to like get it to work. Like it always has errors. But have you tried that, or do you just do Vine once the product is live?
I do want to try that, but I have only done it with once the
Yeah.
product's launched.
Okay. All
So
right. So you got Vine running, and then we're talking about for initial traction, 100% advertising.
advertising, yes.
Mhm.
So I'll obviously put the branded keywords and my branded product targeting with all my other products to try to, do some brand protection there, defense ads
Mhm.
on the listings once they get there. But
Let
yeah,
me ask you
and
about that
then
really quick, because I haven't talked to many people about this. When you've got a big catalog as yours, and you initially start targeting ASINs, uh, your other ASINs, first of all, are you doing just both the sponsored product ASIN targeting, or are you also doing sponsored display ASIN targeting and any of the sponsored video ASIN targeting, or all of the above?
we're doing the sponsored products targeting.
Okay. And then you're just choosing like a wide variety in your catalog. And then, like, do you just know how much your other campaigns you were targeting, so you're not trying to like drive up, or you're not, you already know like what it takes, and you just start with a standard bid there, or how do you decide what bid to put from day one?
I'll put a lower bid usually to see where I land. If I'm getting not getting impressions, I'll raise the bid and until I start getting impressions. But they
Okay.
usually start coming through pretty soon.
Okay. And so now you've got Vine working. You've got you're targeting your own ASINs, and you're targeting branded keywords. Are you starting with any non-branded exact match from day one? And if so, how do you decide what those are and what your bidding strategy is?
Yeah, so I'm gonna find 5 long tail keywords that fit my that I'm showing relevancy to Amazon and the making sure that recommended rank is there is a recommended rank at least, and
Mm-hmm,
it's not
mm-hmm.
blank in the Cerebro when I put my own ASIN in there. And then yeah, I use those long tail keywords. I usually try to find word counts that are 5 or more.
Oh wow, really
And
super long tail. I like it.
yeah, well, it's a very competitive niche.
Yeah.
So the longer the count of the word count is, the better because there's higher probability I'm going to be able to rank quicker on those.
Yeah.
And then I use fixed bids on my
Mm-hmm,
ads
mm-hmm.
for those, and I call them ranking campaigns to start. And recently, I've been using the new keyword tracker bid rule to help me see where I'm landing on the sponsored rank. And that's
What's your
definitely
rule? Well, what do you do? Like you throw, the ones you're trying to rank for, the ones that you want to maintain your rank for. I assume you throw those keywords into that ads rule. But then what's your like structure? Like, are you saying, hey, if it's the consecutive checks, or are you using the average keyword rank, or using the median keyword rank? And then what is the action you're taking on what scenario?
yeah. So I'm using the consecutive checks, 7 days
Mm-hmm.
and 7 consecutive checks,
Mm-hmm.
and I am if I'm not in the top 3
Mm-hmm.
positions for sponsored, I am raising my bid by 10% every day.
Nice.
And until I am there. And then when my organic rank is in the top 5,
Mm-hmm.
I have another criteria to lower my bid by 10% each day until to make sure I don't need to
Ah,
show up twice if I'm already there.
and so then if you do drop below, though, the other rule picks it back up and would raise it up, so you're able to stay in your sweet spot. So I assume you've always done something like this before, but it was just a manual process of going in and having to look at keyword tracker and then going back to ads to adjust your bid, or was this something you weren't even doing because there wasn't enough time?
No, I was doing that, and that was
Okay.
it was manual though, and taking a long time to go back and forth and check every single time, and this
Yeah.
makes it way simpler.
Nice, nice, nice. Just since you're talking about it, anything you'd like us to add to that feature? That's one of the newest features Helium 10 has, like something that would even make your life even more easier as far as PPC and keyword ranks.
Yeah, I mean, there is something I would like to add. I don't know if it's possible,
Let,
but
let us know. We'll listen
I
to it.
think something that would be helpful for sellers to rank on specific keywords is and would be, can we do a pricing discount based off keyword search? Can I go 50% off for my hero keyword that I want to rank on top of the page, but I don't want to give that discount for someone that is searching my brand name. There's no reason.
Yeah, that sounds like a request for Amazon, because we
It
can't.
does.
But that's a pretty decent idea. You think that Amazon might be open to that, because they're going to get their commission. They want momentum. That's why Amazon does all the deals and offers all the discounts and prime deals and stuff like that. But that would make sense. You should let Amazon know. I don't know if Amazon has a feature request like Helium 10 does. That's a decent idea. I like it. Okay. What else on the launch? Like, speaking of that, like, are you launching at full price? Are you launching with coupons, discounts at all until you get momentum? What's your strategy there?
Yeah, I'm launching at full price, and then about a month later, I'll start pushing a discount in order to get that the strike through.
Nice. Okay. Now, it sounds like you're using Helium 10 ads, using Helium 10 Cerebro. Which of those two or something else is your favorite Helium 10 tool? Like, what's your top like 4 Helium 10 tools that you and your team are using?
Well, Cerebro obviously is one of the most valuable tools you can use, but I use that regularly. I need to see where are any of my keywords ranking, or where am I indexed. Super important for keyword research. Keyword tracker is an absolute gem. Without that, you're kind of running blind. You're not seeing where you're ranking. I mean, how are you supposed to run ads when you have no idea where you're showing up on the page? So definitely a valuable tool that I check in with daily. And I use Boost in order to check those browsing scenarios 7 times per day. And then I do use Helium 10 ads, and I I have bid rules that Bradley helped me create in the past in our
well, we'll talk about that a little. How in the world, like, what? How come Bradley's doing well? Guys, Spencer is an elite member. He gets to have one-on-one calls with me, so that's what we've been working on.
And then I've been using Listing Builder since before the new update, and super helpful. Definitely easier now with all that keyword research basically in one place, and you don't have to jump around and check search query performance, and you don't have to check your anything. It's all pulling in that data, which you guys have done terrific building that.
Do you use the AI easier. Or do you like to write your own listings?
I use the AI.
Okay. And then just tweak it a little bit or something?
Tweak it. It's not, I'm not a content writer. So I'll use the AI. I'll use that, and it will definitely,
Okay. Nice. Sometimes it's hard. I mean, like maybe with ads, you can say, hey, we were able to lower a cost 5% or X amount of dollars or something. But a lot of the tools in Helium 10, a lot of this stuff is kind of like hard to measure the effects. Like, all right, you find a keyword, but would your auto campaign have found it 6 months later on its own? Like, how much money did we make you? If you can put like a dollar value or something like on what you think Helium 10 using Helium 10 tools has made you, or the hours weekly that you save, could you give any rough estimates?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a savings in time. I don't know if I could put a dollar value on it right now, but definitely time savers, especially going into Helium 10 ads and being able to adjust bids so quickly and see even by filtering just by my bid or by my ACOS, and being able to lower bids on high spending targets. That recommendation tab that we have now also is very helpful to it's telling you now that you have unharvested keywords that need to be harvested, and you could go through those so easily now. If there was one thing I would want to add to it, I would like to know in the suggestions tab how many, what campaigns the keyword is actually in. So I could decipher whether it needs to be added right off the bat or not. Because I have it recommends campaigns, but those campaigns are the ones that I don't want it in most of the time. So like a branded campaign, I wouldn't want all occasion cards keyword to be in, but it's recommending that, which makes sense. But I'd like to just see in that one of the fields, like these are the campaigns that it's live in right now.
In the suggestions tab or the analytics tab, or
like in the new keywords tab, when I'm looking at the keywords to see what is unharvested.
Yeah. Well, one thing, there is something new. Like, let's say you might not have known this, but in Helium 10 ads, if you have like obviously you have many different types of campaigns for one product, like you got maybe your broad campaign, your ASIN targeting, your video campaign, etc. If you all have it in that one keyword harvesting group, there's a button at the very bottom that says, I forgot what it says. It says like turn on, it's not keyword isolation, but there's a word. It's at the very bottom. And basically what that means is like, it'll make sure that, hey, if it's suggesting to do something, it's not going to tell you to duplicate it. Like you just won't get that suggestion. So that's something that you could use potentially. Let's switch gears. Maybe a non-Helium 10 tactic, something unique that you're doing, like something that you do for Prime Day, something that you do for discounts, something that you do for just advertising in general, or how you make your listing or your A+ content. Like, is there any kind of unique strategy? Not everybody will say, "Oh yeah, I try and lower my A cost," but I don't want to hear something like that. But like something that makes you and your team unique, you think?
Yeah, definitely. I started using listingoptimization.ai.
Mm-hmm.
That's I forgot who makes it.
Yeah, that's one. We've had them on the podcast before. Kamal, the AMC One Step people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, One Step. And I saw an interesting post on LinkedIn the other day that said that Amazon is a knife fight. It's like showing up to a knife fight and your only weapon is your main image. So not your A+ content, not your secondary images, not your bullet points, not your title, your main image. Because when someone searches that keyword and they see your product and they see your competitor's product, your only advantage right there is to win that click. And the tool listing optimization AI, I am also not super creative, and I am not able to imagine what the image should look like in my head, and generating the concepts for these main images and all the other images, but the main image is so important that it has helped my click-through rate improve by optimizing and running A/B tests and manage my experiments. And I think that is so important, and it's crucial for success.
Yeah, awesome.
To keep testing.
Okay. Do you ever do like PickFu / Helium 10 audience for the split testing before you launch, or you only strictly use the free A/B testing on Amazon managed experiments?
I only use the A/B testing on managed experiments.
I would say that going forward, especially since now you're using listing optimization.ai, I would highly recommend for your next launches is, I'm assuming what you mean is you make like 3, 4, 5 variations or something of your main image and see which one works the best. But if you're running it on a live listing, which is good, you should do that after a year. But by definition, you're not optimized, 30% of the time or 66% of the time that you're running this experiment, by the very nature of what you're doing. And so what I always suggest is, hey, go into Helium 10 audience before you launch your product, run, to your target market, say, hey, if you're, searching for a blankety blank keyword, which image makes you want to click on it the most. And then from day one, at least, you are going to have the most optimized. And then like later, a year from now you do the manage your experiments because it's like, you figure it's probably still good that what you had picked, but you never know. So that would be something you can think about for your future there.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll definitely look into that.
All right. Well, it's been great having you on the podcast and learning about your story, and also doing these one-on-one calls. By the way, guys, if you're wondering how to get one-on-one calls with me and Carrie and get on these, networking calls, it's if you've got the Diamond plan, it's only like $99 to add the Elite. So h10.me/elite. You guys can look into that, book some one-on-one calls with me, hop on our networking calls, and there's monthly trainings. I hope you sit on the monthly Leo Segovio training sometimes, or watch the replays, Spencer.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good.
Every month.
Good. I love it. So you get tons of great exclusive information. So,
yeah, totally. Great deal.
I look for, what's your goals for the future? Like, are you like, hey, I just want to keep growing this brand. I want to expand to TikTok or other platforms. What's on the roadmap for you guys?
Yeah, I'd love to expand to TikTok. We're working through that and internally now, and grow our Amazon channel to, keep doubling sales every year, and using Helium 10 to help us.
Love it. All right. Well, Spencer, best of success I wish to you. And let's bring you back on the podcast next year and hopefully be able to recap how your TikTok launch went.
Thank you, Bradley.